All right, welcome back, True Seeker. Another quick live stream. Just want to keep up with the headlines today. Man fatally shot by sheriff's deputy in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And this news comes today, April 21st, on Queen Elizabeth's birthday. Talk more about that in just a second. Also, it was brought to my attention from someone in the community that on Saturday, the Columbus Police Department, their helicopter, they publicly apologized for its 107-mile joyride over the city on the 107th day of the year, where they spelled out CPD. Keep in mind, that was the day that Columbus became real active in the news for gun and shooting-related stories, including the one of the teenager from near Columbus who traveled to New York and was arrested holding an AK-47. But that story broke the day of this joyride, so we'll look more at that. And then a lot of people have scolded me, and they said, Zach, Darnella Frazier's been a story throughout the year with George Floyd. I don't know how I missed it. I mean, I've been on top of the George Floyd thing, but apparently I missed out on this Darnella Frazier person in the story. And BET wrote a story about her October 27th, which was the day leaving 65 days left in the year, and George Floyd 65, and the case ended up getting decided on the 65th day of the year. So, again, even though I wasn't aware of her, she's just, again, more evidence of exactly what we've been saying about the George Floyd thing, that it was made for TV, that it's by the numbers, that it's part of the number games. Again, the massive chapter in this book on the George Floyd killing. Darnella Frazier should be in there, but somehow I overlooked. Well, my book did come out before October, so maybe she hadn't really made her media splash before then. But in the follow-up, I'll be sure to get her in there because, again, her name's 255. The killing was supposedly Memorial Day, May 25th, 25/5, like 255, and then the trial wraps up on the day leaving 255 days left in the year. And she's the big star with her video camera, as they tell you that Minneapolis is fortified with police and military, and cameras are the heroes of the day, especially when they're in the hands of people like Darnella Frazier. And again, just like I wrote about in the book, all of these agendas are about building the surveillance and police state, the military police state where everything's under surveillance. I mean, I don't know if that could be any more clear at the conclusion of the George Floyd wrongful killing by Officer Derek Chauvin in a totally numerical ritual every step of the way. So I was wrong about Darnella Frazier being a brand new character. I hadn't heard of her before yesterday. It's the first time she got on my radar. And a lot of people also thought that was the first time. So, I mean, she didn't get a lot of press up to this point. But, and I think most people who saw the clips of the George Floyd killing thought a man was filming because you hear the man's voice the whole time saying, bro, 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 you a bum, bro. I mean, that's what I remember. And I was just thinking like, okay. And it seems like he's filming. But now they have this new footage showing of other people filming from other angles. Again, these points are really beside the point. The point to take away is that the media is staged theater meant to steer us down the path the tyrants who control the media want us on. And again, with regards to doing everything by the same repetitive numbers, if you missed the video I put out earlier today, there was an emergency at London Bridge to start Queen Elizabeth's 95th birthday. And I guess just to be thorough, in case you did miss this, there's actually something in the UK planned for the day that Queen Elizabeth dies, and the code name for that plan is London Bridge is Down. This was written about by their mainstream media in the UK, The Guardian. This article's from March 17th, 2017. London Bridge is Down, the secret plan for the days after the Queen's death. But notice, London Bridge is Down is 95, just like Charles, Prince of Wales, who would replace the Queen. And this story about the emergency at London Bridge to shut it down for a minute comes on her 95th birthday, days after the death of her husband at 99 on the 99th day of the year. Again, 95 is the big number with the Jesuits. We've been saying the Jesuits clearly run the royal family and many other things. But also today in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, we get a story of a police shooting a black man. And this comes from Pasquatonic. And that has the Gematria 54 like Jesuit. I remember last year when Queen Elizabeth addressed the UK in her rare address over COVID. That was April 5th, a date written 5-4 in the UK like 54. You notice the post time even for this article from the publication posted at 54 minutes past the hour. But again, the victim, a black man fatally shot by sheriff's deputy in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And then notice the gematria of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, 293. If you've read my book, you know how that number factored in with George Floyd in a big way, being killed in the time of Gemini. And but the number 293 is the 62nd prime, and Queen equals 62, as does Floyd, as does Minneapolis, as does Riot. But again, the number 62 with the Queen. Her reign began on February 6th, written 6/2 in the UK, like 62, and her coronation was June 2nd, a date that can be written 2/6 or 6/2. Queen is 26 and 62, and the Queen was born in 1926 as well. Again, she turned 95 today. So, again, I mean, the stuff that they give us every day, it's like they treat us, that's how it is, right? They treat themselves like, it's like they're the rich, ruling, knowledgeable class, and we're the dumb slave class that doesn't really know how to read or write, and they can do things in front of us and expect us not to get it. It's like they know that we're not educated in the knowledge that they speak in every day. Except a group of us have become educated in the last decade or so in this knowledge because of the work that's been put out there. By the way, they said this man was murdered at 8:30 in the morning, 8:30, Murder 83, the song Murder by Numbers by the Police that came out in 1983. Where killing's the sport of the elite, it's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. So there's that nice story. And then this one. We've been talking about how much focus there's been on Columbus in recent days, and in the time we've been saying that, the list has grown. But now there's this story that was out there, and somebody dug this up, but the Columbus police apologized for essentially the joyride they did over the city after people brought attention to this through the website FlightAware. But look at this. This green path is the path the helicopter took, and it flew 107 miles, but you can see down in the lower right section of its flight path, it spelled out CPD for Columbus Police Department. But this whole path was 107 miles, and it took place April 17th, which is the 107th day of the year. And again, shooting's 107. And then that day you got the story out of New York where the young man had traveled from Columbus and brought an AK-47 to the subway. You got the shooting at the Ohio Vigil. You got the shooting of the young woman by police on the day of the Derek Chauvin guilty verdict. But this story came the day that all those stories were essentially set off. This ritual of 107 miles on the 107th day of the year ends up being tied to all these stories connecting to that city and guns and shooting. You see? And what are we saying? We're saying that these people who rule over us, I mean, they're psychopathic in a way about their rituals. And that might be offensive to them. They might say, no, you just don't understand. By doing the ritual, it gives us our influence. And they must think something like this, or perhaps it is true since they are in power. But it's so obvious that these number rituals to them are everything. And then notice the other thing about April 17th. It leaves 258 days left in the year. That connects to Number of the Beast. Did I not put it in here? I thought I did. Number of the Beast, 258. And Helicopter, 666. And again, Kobe died in a helicopter. His career high in points was his 666th game where he scored 81. Kobe Bean Bryant, 81. Ritual, 81. Mark of the Beast, 81. And keep it... Oh, you know what? Mark of the Beast and Kobe Bean Bryant both also equal 54 in addition to 81. Here, I'll just show you. Again, if you look it up, Kobe's career high, 81 points, was in his 666th game. Kobe Bean Bryant, 54-81. Mark of the Beast, which is 666, 54-81. He dies in a helicopter the weekend before Super Bowl 54. And if you just write Kobe Bryant, it's 41, like his age of death. He also died on his 157th day of his age, which is the 37th prime. And Bryant also equals 37. And he died on the 37-year anniversary of Bear Bryant on the 26th day of the year. Again, impossible coincidences. But on the day leaving 258 days, they do this ritual with a helicopter, right? And in my first book, I talk about the 666 rituals with helicopters and Donald Trump Donald Trump, who always liked to be around the chopper. And again, just in my latest book, I talk about 258 and the Bill Gates family and the establishment of their vaccine alliance on the 258th day of Bill Gates' age, July 12th, 1999, the establishment date for Gavi, and how vaccinations got the 666 and Cladex, their simulation, 666 days before the pandemic was declared. So again, these numbers get used in other ways. Vaccination 666 like helicopter, there's big 258 rituals with that. And since I finished my book, Bill Gates' father ended up dying on the 258th day of 2020, just like how the name William Henry Gates is 258. But again, to just think that this stuff's a coincidence day after day when it's clearly ritual, it's clearly intentional. Another thing I should throw out there is they say that the flight lasted from 12:03 a.m. to 1:36. That's 93 minutes later, and of course 93 is the number connected to time. Saturn and the sun, they say the sun's 93 million miles away. All these rituals are in tribute to time. Time is ultimately God. Gematria, Kabbalah in tribute to God. So, I mean, if you're having trouble waking people up to this might actually be an example that makes them go, man, that's a lot to just write off. 107-mile trip on the 107th day of the year as this city becomes the focus of the nation with all these shootings. And if there really is a girl named Micaiah Bryant who was killed, which was just in Columbus, it's now one of the big stories. Don't forget the phrase ritual sacrifices 107. But yeah, all the stories in Columbus right now. Micaiah Bryant, Sadiq Teague, and the Ohio Vigil shooting at the Dollar General. There was another shooting recently, Andre Hill, the 47-year-old, and Casey Goodson on Pearl Harbor Day, 2020. So I think that's it for now. And you can go back to Rambo's post too, because he teaches more about Columbus. Again, all roads lead to Rome, District of Columbia, Christopher Columbus. Big word in our nation's history. So let me see. I think we hit all the main points. And I guess if you missed my coverage of Micaiah Bryant, just to bring that up, again, she's got that 201 encoded right in her name. 201. George Floyd, 201. Michael Brown, 201. Just so many 201s that we've talked about with the mass shootings. Again, a big number of the Jesuits. Columbus points to Rome. The Jesuits serve Rome. And again, right after the helicopter ritual, too. So, by the way, she was shot on the 110th day of the year. Columbus got the 110 connection. When you run it the other way, it's also got the 106 connection. Like Black Lives Matter, like I Can't Breathe, like Black. Prophecy's got that 106, 110. So, I did do a video on this. Oh, somebody also did the research. Keenan caught that this came 119 days after the killing of Andre Hill. Remember, 119 connects to George Floyd, Fraternal Order of Police, All-Seeing Eye, which is in the Fraternal Order of Police's logo, Vatican, Francis. The George Floyd pre-murder trial for Derek Chauvin began on September 11th, written 11/9. Again, the whole 846 thing that they began with. The first plane that hit on 9/11, 846. And then, of course, Columbus, Ohio also has that gematria, like Jesuit order, like Andre Maurice Hill. So... with regards to Andre Maurice Hill being 153 and Columbus, Ohio, and Jesuit order, don't forget that's the 17th triangular number. Ohio's the 17th state. Cavaliers equals 153. LeBron left Ohio on 1/7 only to win the Lakers their 17th championship in his 17th season on the $153 million contract. Again, Jesuits run the NBA too. Jesuits created modern Freemasonry. D.C., the land of the Jesuits, the Masons, the symbolism, the Roman architecture. Again, you put it all together, it's a pretty clear picture. And Yeah, we'll leave it there. So again, if you guys want to try sharing that thing with the helicopter with friends and family, they might find that interesting. Why are they apologizing for a 107-mile joyride on the 107th day of the year? You know, and spelling out CPD in the sky right before their city becomes the big focus of all these stories. And it reminds me when I need to go back and look when the Pope flew into Washington D.C. before he spoke in D.C. on September 23rd, 2015. They were talking about something that the Pope did, like they circled so many times over some city. I'm gonna go back and look at all that now. These people got so many different weird things they do. I mean, just the rituals, man. It's just like, and again, I guess weird means not normal, but it's like, yeah, none of us in our life have we ever, well, probably not. I shouldn't speak for everyone, but I mean, who's been in a plane that was like circling several times over a city? I got to go back and look at what that was. In my mind, I swear it was like somewhere in the Carolinas or something. But watch, if you forget about that, we're gonna do some research together offline. I'm gonna go back and I remember this happened. The Pope circled some city several times before going to DC. I'm gonna go back and see what that was all about. I was more of a novice back then, so some things I was just like, I cannot figure out what they're doing here. See if I can figure it out now, 6 years later or so. Anyway, we'll leave it there, you guys. Again, the radio show tonight, and just doing the best I can to keep up with everything here, work on the books, keep at all the other projects. So I'll be back when I'm back. Until next time.